Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners podcast powered by King. The portal goes on. The playoffs are here. There is a lot to talk about, Parker, as Oklahoma looks to close down their winter portal pursuits. Hope to have a roster set for the spring. So there's a lot to talk about. We'll get into all that. We'll get into the playoffs a little bit, talk our ideas a little bit, talk some NIL, talk some OU basketball as they are 11-0. We've got a lot to talk about right here on this podcast. But first, we got to pay some bills, Parker.
Yes, indeed, we do. And we want to start with a word from our title sponsor, the great folks at King. King is the greatest team to ever clean and a proud partner of OU athletics. They can deliver spotless results from any size business across the country to stadiums like Owen Field. Visit JanneKing.com for unbeatable commercial cleaning services. And also, this podcast brought to you in part by Prize Picks. Okay, Brandon, big weekend of football. For the first time that I can recall today, we had multiple, and we're recording this on a Saturday night. We had multiple college football games and multiple NFL games on simultaneously. What a day of football it was.
We did.
As we get ready to wrap up the weekend, Brandon, what is your Prize Picks sharp bet of the week?
Josh Allen is playing New England. New England is not fantastic. They're okay, but I have Josh Allen going for more. The line is 235.5. Feels like a pretty safe bet, Parker. It feels like a pretty safe bet. 235.5. So more is what I will do.
And folks, Prize Picks is incredibly easy. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. You can make your holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. Again, you can win up to 1,000 times the money that you put in to Prize Picks. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Pixmas. Moreover, they now offer MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. So download the app today and use code OU Insider to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, use code OU Insider for $50 immediately after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. And before we dive in, I would like to publicly acknowledge something. I need to take an L, and I will do it, and I will do it humbly. Last week, as we are in the throes of portal madness, I get word from a connection on the agent side of things that, hey, there are a couple Oklahoma true freshmen that are about to hit the portal. And the names thrown my way are Nigel Smith and BJ Brooks. And I did not need to do any additional confirmation on BJ Brooks. That was on my radar. We had the story pre-drafted. To hear Nigel Smith's name shocked me a little bit because he was a guy that had a long-standing love for Oklahoma, has a long-standing love for Oklahoma, had gone on the signing day show with us last year and said, hey, look, I expect a red shirt. I don't really care. I'm in it for the long haul at Oklahoma. This is where I want to be. And so hearing his name shocked me a little bit. So I decided to sit on that. You know what? We'll vet that a little further, but I, at the very least, put up a note on the OUinsider.com VIP board letting people know, hey, hearing some things about a couple members of Oklahoma's 2024 class, and there may be a couple portal entries soon. I don't know if it was just that people were pissed off with the exodus that had already occurred or what, but people hated that. People jumped all over that. They were like, say the names. Tell us the names of the guys you're hearing. Why can't you tell us names? Give us names. And initially, I didn't do it, and I wait a couple hours, and the noise and the name Nigel Smith at a certain point has made it around to a certain grifter who seems to report rumors pretty indiscriminately. You log on to Twitter, people are already talking about it all over social media. Nigel Smith's transferring, and so at that point, I'm like, okay, well, although I still have some outstanding text, I might as well. And I'm feeling the heat from all the members at OUinsider.com saying, give us names, give us names. And so I finally go on there and I say, okay, look, the names I'm hearing are Nigel Smith and BJ Brooks. Those are the names that I've been quoted as guys that are, as of right now, expected to enter the transfer portal. Well, come to find out later in the day, BJ Brooks was in the transfer portal, I believe, by the end of that day. Again, didn't need to vet that one. But Nigel Smith, of course, did not hit the transfer portal and has not hit the transfer portal. And I that was the first and last time that I will ever mention the names of players that are expected to enter the transfer portal before it actually happens. It is something I've strayed away from in the past, and I succumbed to peer pressure in that instance. And for that, I apologize to Nigel Smith because with all the smoke that was drummed up on social media and elsewhere over the potential of him transferring, while I didn't start that noise, I certainly contributed to it. And I owe him an apology for that. And certainly I apologize to the subscribers at OU Insider as well, because in that moment, in the heat of that moment, I let the pressure of a few loud voices on the board get to me. And I did something I shouldn't have done and violated the general protocol that I observed for things like that. So, again, apologies to Nigel, apologies to our subscribers. With that said, let's dive in, Brandon. Chaotic time right now for OU football.
Yeah.
They're preparing for a bowl game. They are also trying to land the final pieces of what needs to be a strong transfer class, what needs to be an impactful transfer class. Because as we saw in 2024, to quote Brent Venables, it ain't good enough right now. And there are guys that can contribute to a winning product on this roster. Certainly lots of guys already on this roster that can contribute to a winning product, but certainly a lot of positions that need to be upgraded and positions where the Sooners need to add additional depth. As we sit here tonight recording this podcast, the Sooners have 6 total transfer additions. Punter Jacob Ulrich, of course, the quarterback, John Mateer, offensive lineman, Derek Simmons, and Luke Baklenko, and I miscounted. I said 6. It's actually 7. You got 3 wide receivers in the mix as well. Isaiah Satania, Keontez Lewis, and Giovanni Gibson. So that's where Oklahoma's at. They're still in pursuit of several transfers, several portal denizens, if you will, that have yet to announce. And that is top of mind right now. It's interesting that we're 6 days out from a bowl game, which would generally be a big deal. And the vast majority of the eyeballs in the Oklahoma circle are focused on what's going on in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I will say this, the wide receiver crew that they got, and some people like it, some people don't like it. I'm a fan. To me, it feels like, you got 3 guys that were super productive, right? And that you lost, I guess, a little bit of production this year, but what you're getting in far supersedes what you lost, and maybe not in the grand scheme of the whole, their whole college career, but we're talking strictly 2024. And yeah, those guys were injured, but Brent Venables says it all the time. I believe Brandon Hall said it in interviews. I believe, Zach Alley said it in interviews. And if I remember correctly, every offensive coordinator that Brent Venables has had, they've said this exact phrase: the best ability is your availability. And all those wide receivers that Oklahoma lost were not available this year for Oklahoma. They just weren't. They were injured. So now you're hoping that you're getting guys that are going to be a little bit more, I guess, available, not going to be quite as injured. Nick Anderson has always had injury issues. You don't ever want to lose a Nick Anderson. I think that goes without saying. You don't want to lose a Jalil Farouk. I think that goes without saying. But outside of that, are you really worried about the production that you lost? I mean, honestly, are you overly worried?
arguably the most productive player in 2024 that Oklahoma has lost to
It
the
was Brennan
transfer portal so
Thompson.
far was Bauer Sharp.
Well, and Brennan Thompson. Brennan Thompson made some big plays for Oklahoma as far as deep balls
He
go.
did.
But
He did.
um, yeah, my point, you just made my point. So you're getting all these guys. Now, granted, if Oklahoma fans push come to shove, gun to head right now, if they said, would you rather have Bauer Sharp or have no tight end at all? They're going to say Bauer Sharp. Because the one thing you could always guarantee is that Bauer Sharp, at least, there was always that what if with him. Like, what if he can finally figure that position out? Because he's so athletic, decent hands, all that type of stuff. It's just the other side of it. Is he going to make that bonehead play that's going to lose you the football game? Is the other side of the issue, the other side of the coin, if you will. So I don't know, man. Like, they're doing a really good job. I think anytime you're, headlined by John Mateer, that's a big dub, right? Like, that's a big win. Outside of that, and then Derek Simmons being the number 29 overall portal player and Rivals. Those are your two headliners.
Yep.
Oklahoma just has got to figure out, do they want another interior offensive lineman or do they not? Can they be patient with that fourth wide receiver or can they not? What about let's O'Connor? Um, where does Oklahoma stand with him? Where does Oklahoma stand with Logan George? Where does Oklahoma stand with just the tight end in general? I think those are the biggest questions. And I literally talked to somebody, not last night, but I guess it was last night. And their exact quote to me about the just the wide receiver tight end position was, it doesn't matter right now what they do at wide receiver. They feel pretty confident in what they got coming in and what they have returning. And I know you fans, they hear that and just like red, warning signs flash because they didn't see a lot of production.
Sure.
You didn't see a lot of production because one, the quarterback didn't have time to give him the production. And two, the quarterback didn't have time to give the production. So like, I mean, it is what it is. Right. So, their main focus was going to be patient at wide receiver, got to find a tight end. So with that said, I will let you dive into where they're at tight end because OU
Yeah.
fans are screaming right now at what Joe John Finley has thrown out as possibilities at this point. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
before you do that, you'll have to pronounce the name. Borkature, is that how you say it?
Borkature. Yep.
I said it right. All right. So Borkature, tight end from Nebraska, obviously now is going to Texas A&M. He took less money to not go to Oklahoma,
Which is kind of crazy.
which is crazy. And at the same time, what does that say about Oklahoma and tight ends? Because they used to be a place where tight ends could go and be successful.
Yeah, I mean that's
For
bonkers
years.
to have a guy that's about to be a 6-year senior. And I mean, let's face it, there's not much of a market for purely blocking tight ends in the NFL. He's like his football career is more than likely over, at least in terms of major monetary gain from playing football next season. So you would think a guy like that gets in the portal and he just wants to maximize his earning ability. And so whatever school offers the most money, well, that's pretty much automatically going to be the spot, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's why people on the OU side were so confident, even when he went to Texas A&M, and then boom, lo and behold, he's an Aggie. So yeah, Oklahoma, they literally cannot buy a tight end right now.
And they throw a lot of money
They
at, like, bro, they throw a lot of money at
Yep.
it. Oh.
And as of right now, there are 2 outstanding offers at the tight end position. And when I say outstanding, I don't mean it in the superlative sense. I don't mean
Awesome.
yes, I don't mean awesome offers. What I mean is offers that are
Out there. In
out
ether.
there,
Yeah.
the resolutions of which are yet to be determined.
Mhm.
2 outstanding offers at the tight end position. One is Will Huggins, 6'7", 254 pounds, spent the 2024 season at Pittsburgh State after 4 years at Kansas. At Kansas, across those 4 seasons, he had 1 catch for 20 yards. It was a touchdown, but 1 catch for 20 yards. At Pittsburgh State this past year, 22 catches, 395 yards, 1 touchdown. Then you have Carson Kent, a former walk-on at Kennesaw State.
Every time you say that name, bro, all I can think of is Superman. And I know it's not Clark Kent, but every time I'm like, wait a second.
His parents missed an opportunity, man. Clark was right there.
He was right there.
But in all seriousness, Clark. There you go. I almost said Clark Kent. Carson Kent. Carson Kent is 6'4", 240 pounds. Had 18 receptions for 317 yards and 3 touchdowns this past season for the Owls. That was not a very good offensive team. That was not a very good team, period. So modest production, but within the context of the offense, pretty solid.
That's the team you go to 2025 in college football 2025 and you try to build them up.
Yes, exactly.
New coach.
Exactly. You're starting at the absolute bottom rung. Kennesaw State is primed for a role like that in EA Sports College Football 25. Yeah. I believe they won 1 game this past year.
They did. And
it was against then undefeated Liberty, which is wild. But
yes.
Carson Kent is 6'4", 240. Like I said, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns this past year. He's a guy who can catch and block with equal aplomb and is starting to get a lot of attention as of late. When he first got in the portal, it was pretty much all G5s that were coming after him. Then the P4 offers started to roll in. And I know for a fact there are several P4 schools that have offered Carson Kent, and he has not publicly posted the offer, at least not yet.
Yeah,
but
right, Parker. Whatever.
He was at Oklahoma Friday afternoon, evening, and then Saturday morning. Flew back home Saturday afternoon, had a few hours, and as I understand it, he was then heading out this evening, Saturday night, to go to West Virginia. That's going to be, well, that is, as of right now, his only remaining scheduled visit, although there may be more scheduled down the line. So those are your options right now. Those are your options that are on the table. Carson Kent and Will Huggins. Now, I don't want to, and I've said this before, and, you know, it falls on deaf ears for obvious reasons, but I don't want to pack Joe John Finley's bags for him while he is still in the offices at the University of Oklahoma. But if indeed he takes another job and he is calling plays somewhere else in 2025, then you would figure your next tight ends coach, wherever you hire him from, you're going to tell that guy, hey, pick somebody and you bring him with you. You know, take somebody from your roster. You can decide who, see if they want to come along to Oklahoma with you. That's a real easy, well, maybe not a way out of your current predicament, but a way to diminish the significance of the current predicament. But that's a step down the road. Joe John Finley is still your tight ends coach. Joe John Finley was actively involved running point with Carson Kent while he was on campus in Norman. So I don't necessarily know what the outlook is for that Oklahoma tight end room next year. I don't know if Joe John Finley is coaching it. I don't know if somebody else is coaching it. Yeah. I have my feelings. You have yours. We'll all find out for certain before long, I would think. But as it stands, the scholarship tight ends that you have coming back are Devon Mitchell, Caden McIntyre, Caden Helms, and Trinae Washington, who's joined in the fold as an incoming true freshman. 3 total collegiate catches amongst that group. Caden Helms has 2, Caden McIntyre has 1. So in terms of production, what these guys have actually done at the collegiate level, there's not much. There's not much to go off there. Now, there's a ton of potential. I've said this before. You know, there's a fascination with Devon Mitchell, deservedly so. He's exceedingly talented. Caden Helms is probably, you know, if you have a guy in that room that is what it looks like, if you will, it's Caden Helms at 6'5", 240. Yeah. I love Caden McIntyre as a player, and I think he has immense potential. He just really hasn't had the chance to showcase it yet because he's just had bumps and bruises and nicks and cuts continuously over the course of his first 2 years as a Sooner. So, again, the potential is there, but, Brandon, you can't count on potential because, and it's certainly not after what happened in 2024, because potential was what you were counting on with Bauer Sharp when you brought him in, and counted on him being the answer at tight end, counted on a converted quarterback making the jump from the FCS to the P4 level and being rock solid all around. And Bauer Sharp was a pretty solid pass catcher,
Yeah.
but he couldn't block. And in the SEC, you need a tight end who can block. And so I think that's why the blocking aspect has come into focus more for Oklahoma, because you got pass catchers between Mitchell, Helms, McIntyre, Washington. All four of those guys, I would say, are more pass catchers than they are blockers.
Oh, yeah.
You need somebody who can block.
Yeah. Washington, I think, is going to be. I honestly would not be shocked if he weighs 240 pounds by the time let's say 235 by the time the football season rolls around. And you're talking about a guy that played corner for Carl Albert, corner at his size already. He's a freak of an athlete, and OU fans aren't looking at him, I think, in the right mindset. He's not going to be somebody that's going to be able to line up and just barrel over somebody early in his career. But he could be that H-back. He could be that flex tight end that you're looking for, along with Devon Mitchell, Caden Helms. I think Cade McIntyre is probably your best bet to be the most complete right now. And even then, I don't know. And so, yeah, you really, really, really need Kent to be that guy if he was to choose Oklahoma.
And that's no guarantee at this point.
It is,
to be
and
clear.
it is not. It's not a guarantee. And similarly with defensive end, right? Like, I talked to Logan George today for quite a bit actually, and Ohio State obviously is coming up, but shortly after that visit, I expect him to decide something. Like he told me flat out, I can quote him. I can pull up and quote him, and he said, "Look, I have this visit coming up to Ohio State, and I may take another. I may take another, but I want to get this over with as quickly as possible." Like, so he is not trying to drag this thing out. This thing could be over before the portal closes, right? Like, so by December 28th, I wouldn't be shocked if it's done and over. I feel as if Oklahoma's in a decent spot, but I'm watching Ohio State kick the living crap out of Tennessee right now. And that is scary, right? When you're a guy from Idaho State, that is a lot of glitz and glam.
Yep.
To say no to if you're, Logan George. And so I'm interested to see. I know there's other guys that hit the portal today that I thought were intriguing, potentially for Oklahoma to go after. Obviously, O'Neal out of James Madison is another one, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him end up at Indiana, I guess, would be
Signetti. Yeah.
Yeah, Signetti. That's his guy. Gave him his first chance, all that type of stuff. So I really don't know what Oklahoma's going to do. And then as far as James Thompson goes, Parker, I don't know. Like, that's an interesting ordeal all the way around as it is. What we do know, back to the offensive side of the ball, is that Jaron Bradley in Oklahoma obviously committed to K-State today. But I know that there were reports, if that's what you want to call them, out there that he had signed with Oklahoma in conjunction with Isaiah Satania. Never happened. Pen to paper, never took place. As a matter of fact, Oklahoma, even on the visit, wasn't sure they wanted to take Jaron Bradley. And we kept telling everybody that, and for some odd reason, there was another place that kept saying, "Oh, it's done, it's done, it's done, it's done." OU was never sure. They were never sure they wanted him because they weren't sure about his separation ability. He only had 94 yards at Boston College year before. And from the time that Emmett Jones left Texas Tech, that's when he had his career season, was with Emmett. And he just kind of went.
Can I make
Go
an
ahead.
interesting connection here?
Go ahead.
There was a time where it looked like Jaron Bradley was going to be the fourth wide receiver in the class for Oklahoma. Like things
Yeah,
were trending in that
yeah,
direction. Nothing was done, but it was trending in that direction. Where that all kind of fell apart was Friday morning / early afternoon was where it started to become apparent. Okay, this is not happening after all. At that time, Friday morning, early afternoon, I believe the game kicked off at 11 a.m. It's a kid by the name of Cam Vaughn, excuse me, whose name has been linked to Oklahoma
yeah.
and is in the
No,
transfer portal.
mm-hmm.
And he had one heck of a game for Jacksonville State on Friday. 9 catches, 169 yards, and a touchdown.
And the weird part is, I heard that Oklahoma may not be that interested in him.
Really?
Weirdly,
So you don't think
yeah.
there's any correlation there?
I don't want to write it off.
Yeah.
Let's say Thursday afternoon, I was told a big negative, and as a matter of fact, oh my gosh, let me pull up the name that I wrote about
Skylar
today.
Bell is who
Skylar
you're
Bell
thinking
out of
of.
UConn, yeah. So that was a name that was brought up to me from a source inside Switzerland. Like, this is a name that you should look into. And then Keon Brown was another one that Oklahoma is trying to maybe
There's some
re-kick the
history
tire.
there.
There is some history. He was committed to Oklahoma. So
He signed with Oklahoma.
he signed with Oklahoma. And I talked to Keon, and yeah, there's been a little bit of communication. Oklahoma has been watching the film, breaking that down. It's a matter of, how do I want to word this, Parker? Everybody always has a little bit of baggage, right, in their life.
Sure.
And
Yep.
just some people have, and it was the same issue with him out of high school. So I think everybody kind of understands it. That's kind of like fit, no fit, that type of deal. Plus, he's not available until May. So that is the other holdup for him. So Skylar Bell is a dog. Like, if you go watch his film, if you go look at who he is, he's 6'6'1", wide receiver, fast as all get out, can make big plays, high points the ball really well, great in space. It's just a matter, is he going to garner a lot of money is the other big question. But I believe he's tied with one of OU's transfer signees, correct?
Deontez Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis. Yeah. So, I
There's a
mean,
connection there. And what's also interesting to note is that his quarterback at UConn, Nick Evers.
Nick Evers, correct. Yeah, so there's a lot to like there if you're Oklahoma. But that's kind of the point we're making, is the Oklahoma still, like, as far as the numbers that they pushed out, everybody thinks that they're going to take a whole lot. But you got to remember that right now, up to this point, the SEC is at 85.
Mm-hmm.
They're not 105 like the rest of college football. I think it goes up to 96 in April, right? Or June, May, June, whatever. And then in August, it's 105. I don't know why they're doing that, but I don't get it, Parker. I don't get it.
There's a lot that I don't get about college football right now. That's just kind of the nature of the game.
Yeah. I don't get it. So as we sit here, if you were a betting man, and we haven't even talked about the quarterback that's on, on campus. If you were a betting man, does Oklahoma, how many do you, when class starts, I don't even say class starts, because you get, till the end of January before, when ad drop period ends for Oklahoma at the end of January, how many transfers have they signed? Because remember, people can enter the portal for 5 days after the final game. So let's say Tennessee loses. They have until December 26th to get their butt in the portal.
Yep. I will say 13. I will say they almost double what they have now, which is 7.
Who are
6 more
those 13?
transfers.
Who are those 6 more?
I mean, you're
if you're a
asking
betting man right now, like, do you think they get Logan George? What about Ethan O'Connor?
Well, yes, I think they get Ethan O'Connor. right now.
Okay.
I know they feel good about that one. I feel good about that one based on some external conversations I've had. He's continued to take other visits, so everything has to be taken with a grain of salt in that regard. But things are good right now with Ethan O'Connor, as far as I am aware.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't know quite yet how I feel about Logan George. And undeniably, what
Same.
Ohio State is doing to Tennessee as we speak, that helps the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
That does Oklahoma no favors in this heads up battle.
Yeah. I totally agree. So again, have you heard anything on James Thompson? Because I have not heard very much on him at all. Minimal.
Nor have I. There's not a ton there that I have picked up, which
Never a good sign, by the way.
no, and that that tells me maybe it happens, but not something you count on right now.
Mhm.
There's generally a reason you're not hearing a whole heck of a lot about that kind of thing. Um,
Who was
Cole
it that got the
Gonzalez,
portal? Go
Cole
ahead. Yeah.
Gonzalez is on campus right now as we're recording this Saturday night about 9:15. His visit goes into tomorrow. Um, this is Oklahoma's third string quarterback if they can pull this off. They want one more. They need one more. 3 scholarship quarterbacks is not enough. You need a fourth. The last time Oklahoma rostered 3 scholarship quarterbacks, for instance, they wound up running the Wildcat for much of the game in the Red River Showdown. That can never happen again. They're going to ensure it never happens again. They're going to take a 4th scholarship quarterback. As to whether it's Cole Gonzalez, again, I don't know. Hard to gauge until the visit is complete.
That would be
Because,
crazy if that happens. He's
yeah,
so
I mean,
productive.
well, and I can almost promise you there will be for a third string quarterback, there will be some decent money involved because
Yeah.
that's the only reason you would come to Oklahoma and be a third stringer as opposed to going somewhere like Charlotte, for instance, where he's got an offer, somewhere in the G5 where you can expect to, at the very least, battle for the starting job, if not have the starting job handed to you. He's been productive at Western Carolina. And
Yeah.
so I think Oklahoma will just have to show Cole Gonzalez the money. I think that's what it amounts to because he's a junior, right? And so he has no incentive long term to sit the bench, to ride the pine. The incentive in the short term may be being able to make more in the NIL department than you can at other places. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it boils down to. So I like Cole Gonzalez. He's a nice option. If he was the guy running the offense for Oklahoma, if that's what it came to, if somehow you got down to the third string quarterback, I don't think it would be an all out dumpster fire.
Yeah. No, he's as productive as you could get, for third string. That's the crazy thing about it. Like you're looking at, and I know Casey Thompson was super productive in his career, all that, but he was coming off a bunch of injuries. And yeah, I know Gonzalez is coming off an injury, but nothing like in the, realm of what Casey Thompson went through for several years. You have a guy that has what, 7,000? If you get him 7,000 yards passing, and how many touchdowns was it? Like 50 something, 60 something. I mean, just crazy production.
Yeah.
And I
And
know
again,
it's at
like,
a smaller school, but dude, that's your third string quarterback with college football production.
mm-hmm.
That's stupid. You got to feel pretty good if you're an Oklahoma fan. If that goes down that way,
Oh,
you got to be going,
absolutely. Absolutely.
oh,
I think
this
your only
is
question
so
is
much
how
better.
much did our guys pay to get him on board? Because
Yeah.
dude with that much starting experience and that much production, you are not convincing him to come sit the bench if he has a viable alternative somewhere else and he thinks that he has long-term NFL potential. So
Yeah.
that almost has to be part of the conversation too. Is Oklahoma telling you, "Hey, look, you're not going to play professional football. Come get
Yeah.
what you can while you can get it." That's what you have to convince the kid of. And who knows? Does he buy that? I don't know, Brandon. We'll know more tomorrow, certainly after that visit wraps up.
Can we all give it up to first off, there before I even go into the other offensive line, I could not believe that Oklahoma didn't go after Cam Dewberry after how close they were to landing him previously. And from
Well,
what I was told, that could have been in like just a walk in the park. But the same goes for Tyler Mercer. So
exactly. Like
I
to
mean,
me, if you were going to take an interior guy, you were going to take the freshman
oh yeah,
All
yeah, yeah,
American and
yeah,
Tyler
yeah. But and
Mercer.
I I'm kind of giving something away here, but I'm not sure that Oklahoma feels like some things are done with a couple of interior offensive linemen, no matter where they're committed to. So
Mhm.
we'll see. We'll see. They would like to probably try to play ball a little bit more. Um, there was a defensive lineman that entered the portal earlier today, and cannot remember where he's from or where he is. I want to say it was a smaller school, like, but it was a defensive lineman that had like really good production, like double digit tackles for losses, that type of deal.
And you're not talking about the James Madison guy, Eric O'Neill here.
I'm not talking about Eric O'Neill. I know that one. That's easy. This was an interior guy. In my, this bulbs start flashing in my head, thinking, okay, this has got to be something um, that Oklahoma should go after. The other question is what does Oklahoma do? Like, do they just stay pat at linebacker? In your opinion,
I don't think they should. I I think it would
I
be worth
agree,
it.
but
I think it would be worth it to go grab a seasoned vet.
yep,
And like hopefully what you would go and get is and Connor Neer is a bad parallel because Connor Neer didn't do anything except play special teams. You'd like to
mm,
have a guy that is going to be able to fit in the rotation and provide some experience alongside those younger guys because it's almost and it's not quite the same, but it's almost the same conversation on defense with the linebackers as it is on offense with the tight ends. There's
yep,
more experience and there's more production at linebacker for Oklahoma than there is at tight end, certainly. But you're still counting on guys to make a jump and inherit full time starting duty and excel in that duty when you haven't necessarily seen it, at least to that extent. I love Sammy Omasigo. I love
yeah,
Lewis Carter. I think those dudes are going to be amazing. But what if they're not, Brandon? We all sat here before the 2023 season and thought, okay, Jaron Kanek breakout season incoming.
yep,
He lost his starting job 2/3 of the way into the year. So my point is, you just don't know. And I think there are enough of these guys in the linebacker room that you don't know with that you ought to go get somebody that you do know is going to be a player and has been a player.
yeah. Eh,
I don't think you need more than one, but
no,
I think one would be helpful.
I think I think if you're Oklahoma, the other question is great, and I'll get to the linebacker in a minute. But and you and I discussed this earlier today. I was told it's one or the other, defensive tackle, defensive end for Oklahoma right now because they're pretty stacked. Essentially, the same thing at linebacker, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty stacked.
Well, and you have,
Do you?
and this is the second time we go there in this podcast, you have a guy in Nigel Smith that, if you need to put 15
He
pounds on him and tell him to play
he
defensive
could
tackle, you can do
so
that.
easily be defensive tackle. It's not
Yeah.
even, and I think he would probably benefit from that move. But sometimes it's you got to convince the player, and they've got to be obviously mentally all in, or it's just futile to even try to do that. Um, if that's the case, then yeah, you go take a defensive end to supplement that, right? Like I think that's what you would have to do. At this point, I would take a defensive tackle though, and here's why: you lost Champ Sanders. No, Champ Sanders isn't going to be. He was never going to be hugely productive. But you also lost DJ Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the odds are, I don't want to say it's confirmed or anything like that, even though we feel like it's trending in a really positive direction. Dominic Williams is likely to return at this juncture.
Yeah.
Likely. NIL is funky, so I'll never say it until the pen meets paper and it's done, and I can confirm it being done from actual people within his camp. Jaden Jackson, obviously, we know things are good there. David Stone. Well, your face just kind of went weird when I said Jaden Jackson.
No. It had nothing to do with Jaden Jackson. I was formulating a thought. Continue.
Okay, yeah. So David Stone, great. Yeah, negotiations have been going on, whatever, but I guess it would be surprising if he went somewhere right at this juncture. Um, you have Trent Wilson coming in. Obviously, I'm trying to think who else you have that I'm missing off the top of my
Marcus
head.
Strong.
Marcus Strong, that'd be 5, right?
And did you mention Grayson Halton?
I didn't mention the second best player, defensive tackle on the team.
I don't know why it is, man, but he is
Every time,
so
yeah, I don't know, man.
so easy to forget about, and he shouldn't
But he's
be.
so good.
Because
He's the most
amazing.
productive guy they have. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I know
I'm
somehow it
sorry,
just gets
baby. I apologize.
No,
and
but
apologize to your father as well.
let me float this at you.
Go ahead.
Oklahoma right now is 8 scholarships short of 85. They have 33 scholarships that they are set to lose, and as we sit here tonight, 25 scholarships that they are set to bring in. So with the knowledge that you still have 8 scholarships and you're not going to get 8 transfers in the next week before the portal ends, might this be a case where Oklahoma can wait until the spring period and see if they need to go grab another defensive tackle or if that scholarship can be better allocated elsewhere? Because I also think there's a world in which you let spring ball play out, you take a look at your existing depth, and most specifically, you see whether or not Trent Wilson is ready to step into an immediate role and is worthy of trust in a role like that. And if you're satisfied with your depth, then great. If you're not, like I said, you can tell Nigel Smith to go put on 15 pounds and move him inside. But if you're still not at the point where you feel like that's enough, then you go snag a defensive tackle because you ought to be short of 85 still at that point.
Correct. So that's kind of what I was getting at. Oklahoma generally grabs their guy, a defensive tackle, their main guy in the spring session. And I don't want to say tampering or anything like that because I don't think that's the right word to use it. I think Oklahoma.
Walter Nolan's a Sooner? What? Is that what I just heard?
No. Whoa, that would be just out of this. Could you imagine him added to what they already have? Would that easily be the best defensive tackle room in college football?
Yes, it would. That would be problematic.
Yeah, it's already problematic, but for other teams, but yes. So they always find a way to, if somebody is on the fence as they're going through winter workouts and spring ball. And so Oklahoma does a really good job of finding that guy, pinpointing him. And if they're a productive guy like a DJ Terry or the Dominic Williams, they do a good job of coercing that guy to get in the portal and then making it happen. I think we're adults now. We can say it. It is what it is. That in itself is what I would do. That's what I would do because you know that you're really good at that position as it is, right? Like you feel really, really confident at that position. Why not wait and see if somebody is going to get in the portal? Why not wait and see what the buzz is behind the scenes with somebody else? And if they're going to come in and help, because you don't have to take that person, like you said, unless they are going to be downright good for you at that spot, because you are what, 4, 5, 6 deep already?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to take anybody. I feel the same way at linebacker. I don't know that I feel the same way at defensive end. I think there's good enough players out there right now that you go grab somebody that you could probably come in and help you. Eric O'Neal, prime example. He's not big. He's not long or rangy or anything. He's rangy. He's not big. He's not long. He is Trace Ford. That's who he is. really productive guy with a great first step that could be deadly on third down in the SEC. I don't know how much he would garner though. I think that's probably the biggest question is how much money does Oklahoma have to play with right now in the winter portal session? Obviously, they'll have more in spring. And that's the other reason why I think you be patient because you're going to have more funds to tinker with, right? I think we all agree on that. That's probably the case. And you're going to know whether who wants to leave your program heading into the season and maybe free up some funds for you to throw in a different direction. Maybe he's at a position that you didn't need to find or replace. So there's a lot of reasons for me to think that you defensive tackle, linebacker is a spring pool. It's worked out for Oklahoma over the years, right? Now, granted, I don't think DJ Terry was somebody that Oklahoma was. I don't think DJ Terry's people were talking to people around everywhere to and throwing out stuff the way that Dominique Williams people were. Because we heard Dominique Williams' name for like a year and a half before he got in the portal, right? You remember that? It was during his freshman year. People were like, he may get in the portal. The people around him want him at Oklahoma. Like we heard that for like a year, dude. Obviously,
I
that
thought it
was
was
his.
just a few months. I thought the
No,
first
I
real
got
buzz was
I
in
got a call
January.
from somebody in November.
Okay, so it was
Like
6 months.
6 months, 6 months. It felt like a dang year, but yeah, 6 months, I guess. Um, saying yeah, he may end up in the portal here pretty soon, and I guess there were teams throwing just gargantuan amounts of money at his reps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I heard. Um, there's going to be a big name hop in the portal in the spring, and we don't know who it is or anything like that. But there's always what last year was there like three defensive tackles that were big names.
DJ Hicks to Oklahoma.
Jeez, I will. I hope that never happens. At this point, I hope it just doesn't happen. Just because that would just be. It probably will now that I'm saying that. Because that would just be so on brand at this point. What? How many years eligibility does he have left? Two?
Hicks would have two. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, man. This portal thing is just driving me nuts at this point. Like I'm tapped out. Are you not tapped out yet?
I'm home for Christmas, so I'm doing okay. I've gotten the chance to recharge a little bit.
I have not yet. I got little dad brag. My kid at that future showcase today at FBU was one of like I guess 360, 375 kids, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth that were invited, and he was one of three or four quarterbacks that made the all camp team, which I thought was a really cool deal. Bro, there was like 75 quarterbacks there. So that's a pretty cool deal. I thought that was pretty impressive. And some of them were pretty freaking good. Um, so he got on the list for the FBU ninth grade, obviously for them to watch for the next few years, ninth grade All American game. And the FBU and Under Armour are now in cahoots together. Did you know that?
I did not know that. No.
Yeah. So they work together. Craig Hubert was announced the game, the freshman All American game. And he's on the watch list now for the eighth grade All American game. So I thought that was pretty cool. Good day. Good day. Proud of him. But yeah,
Is
I'm
that a pool
tired.
behind you?
It is. My father-in-law rented this house for us to do Christmas here since Caden was in the camp.
Very nice.
I didn't do it, so I'll take it.
Living the
Um,
high life.
I guess it's it's a heated pool and it is okay, I guess. Um, OU basketball. Let's talk OU basketball. I think we
Oh,
did
okay.
they deserve to be talked about.
They do deserve to be talked about, Brandon. I'm trying so hard, trying so hard to
You're not
temper
gonna
my own
bite. We're not gonna bite
expectations.
into it like we did last
Oh
year.
man, like ugh. I am too scarred. I am
Yeah.
too scarred by years gone by to believe in this team yet, but they have given me every reason to believe so far, and they have given me no reasons not to. Man, Jeremiah Fears is special, isn't he? That's a lottery pick right there.
Yeah, he's
That
got
is
a
an
chance to
NBA
be a
guard.
10, 15-year guy in the NBA at this juncture if he
Yep.
keeps it up and stays healthy. Man,
And
is he
he's not the
special.
only NBA guy on that roster, too, because
He's
Jalen
not.
Moore,
Jalen Moore special. Yep.
Jalen Moore is an NBA dude as well. To me, the biggest thing that, highlights his growth from last year to this year is he wasn't a bad shooter last year,
Three
but
points.
yeah,
Yep.
it's it's the outside shooting. It's seen an uptick. And, for a guy like him that's what, 6'7", 6'8", and probably a small forward in the NBA, that's
Yeah,
that's what you got
he's.
to be able to do. You got to be able to step up to the 3-point line and knock it down with consistency. And he's been doing that so far this season for Oklahoma.
Do you remember Padilla back in like 2008, 2009 for Oklahoma?
Padilla.
Juan Padilla or something like that.
Why does that name not ring a bell at all?
He was really good on that team that made it to the Elite Eight with Blake Griffin and all that, and Tony Crocker and Austin Johnson and all that. Anyways, he reminds me of a more refined version of him. Just Padilla was a freak athlete, same height, like same build, everything. Just a fantastic player. I got to tell you, Duke Miles has looked really good so
Mm-hmm.
far. I think he's played well. Obviously, Kobe Elvis, he's not quite at 10 points. I believe I was looking at it the other day. I think he's like 9'8", maybe 9'6". I don't know. But he's played fairly well. I uh, this is hard for me to even say, man.
The
Give
SEC is
prop.
a really deep league too,
I know, but
and it's
I
it's
was
a talented league.
giving props to somebody I'm going to give props to is hurting me.
Oh, I see where this is going. Yes, you're gonna have to say nice things about Sam Godwin. I know this will be a tough time for you. We'll get through it together.
But hold on. He about screwed the dang thing up the other day for him, though.
But he didn't.
But he didn't. He made a really good pick pass and got it to the right guy at the end of the game. Yep. So, um, yeah. And then, hey, mad props to Luke Norweather, brother. He's not scoring a whole bunch, but he makes like every time the other team has a run going, if he's in the ball game, somehow, some way, he makes like just a momentum stopping shot. It's
Mm-hmm.
always a three, but he's improved quite a bit. He's improved defensively. I think that's probably his biggest growth has been the defensive side of the ball for Norweather. I think Oklahoma felt confident enough against Michigan and the 2 7-footers, right? That they put Norweather on literally the most athletic one and said, just guard him. And I
Yep.
know they didn't have a choice just because of the matchup. And Michigan was a bad matchup for Oklahoma. So their size was bad. But yeah, he's played well. I SEC is really good. I mean, really good. They're essentially what the Big 12 was. I feel like good basketball just follows Oklahoma wherever they go. Um, so I guess they have Alabama coming up here pretty soon. Is it at home?
I don't know if it's at home or if it's in Tuscaloosa.
If it's at Tuscaloosa, that's
I need
that's
to
that's
become
tough.
more familiar
I
with
know.
OU basketball's schedule.
Same. I
It is in
believe they
Tuscaloosa on the 4th of January. So there you go. Yeah, they go on the
did
road.
they
Then their home opener is the following Wednesday against A&M.
and they played. Did they play UCA today?
They play UCA. Well,
Tomorrow, right?
by the time this podcast is released, yes, it will be
Yeah. Yeah.
Sunday at noon.
Yep.
Sunday at
So
noon.
interesting. Yeah. Mad props. Jeremiah Fears is the next big guy, big name in Oklahoma. I think that's pretty clear. How many, by the way, Oklahoma is like every like 4 or 5 years they get one of these guys.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
So,
and the biggest thing for me is, and I'm not going to claim Jeremiah Fears is another Trey Young. I mean, we're 11 games in, but I will say the thing I like about his game so far is that he doesn't play hero ball. I
does
mean,
not.
he's not afraid to step up and hit a big shot, hit a
Mhm.
crazy shot if he needs to, as we saw with that 4-point play against Michigan. But no, man, he makes intelligent decisions with the basketball. He trusts his teammates to make plays, and that keeps this offense humming. It's not
Yeah.
boom or bust the way that it was the last time Oklahoma had a player this talented in Trey Young back in that 2017-18 season. That team went 18-15 and wound up getting bounced in the round of 64. The ceiling for this team, and I don't know how far they go, the ceiling is much higher because they have a lottery pick who does not play hero ball, does not
Mhm.
hog the ball, does not feel like he is the one that has to be taking the shot every time there's a crucial moment.
So with Oklahoma's non-con, how many conference games they need to win? 6, 7, maybe, maybe not even that. 5 to get into the tourney now, because you're gonna have wins over Michigan. I mean, I'll tell you, you'll have wins over Michigan. Uh, I don't know what Oklahoma State's gonna be
So
worth.
OU, barring catastrophe, is going to be 12-0 with a win over Central Arkansas. They need to
Yeah,
get to 19 wins. You win 7 games in SEC play, you're good. That's the way I
well,
see it.
they'll be 13-0 before they play Alabama because they have Prairie View A&M as
Oh,
well.
so there you go. Yeah, boom, 13-0, 6
So 6
games,
wins.
6 wins, 6 wins
Yeah,
in SEC play, and you're
because you
good.
got Arizona, Providence already in your pocket, Georgia Tech, Louisville. Wow, that is Michigan. That is impressive. That bro, that is impressive. Like when you actually go back and look at it, that's impressive. And they're ranked.
Yeah,
That's the crazy part. 2 of the 5 that I just named are ranked.
yeah.
So
See, the problem is you've excited the OU basketball casuals,
sorry.
the people who don't pay close enough attention to have to understand that this team has done exactly this the last 3 years
Last
under
three
Porter
years.
Moser.
Yep.
And so that's like the casuals are over the moon right now, and
Yeah.
they're stoked about this team because shoot, 11-0, gonna be 12-0, probably gonna be 13-0. Like, when was the last time that was the case at Oklahoma? It's been a while because these last few years non-con play has been strong, sure, but the Sooners haven't gotten through it undefeated.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there is the contingent that knows better.
Let me
And
temper those people. Let me temper those people real quick, Parker. I'm going to tell them exactly what Oklahoma's in store for over the next 2 months. They get the luxury of playing at number 6 Alabama. They get number 12 A&M at home 4 days after that. Then they go to Georgia. They get Texas at home. They get South Carolina at home. They go to, uh, you know, Arkansas and the Godfather, and play
yep,
them. Um, then after that, they get A&M at home, or they go to A&M. Excuse me, they go to number 12 A&M, Vanderbilt at home, and then this is where the two February 4th and February 8th, back to back, Parker, back to back. Number 2 Auburn, or at number 2 Auburn, and you
that's a
get,
good basketball team.
yeah, and then you get number 1 Tennessee at home, back to back. Oh, and then you got to go to Missouri, LSU at home. Oh, then at number 7 Florida, no biggie. Mississippi State at home. Number 4 Kentucky at home. So,
Yeah, it's a
and
tough
then
schedule.
yeah,
It's a really
and then
tough
you got to go
schedule.
to Ole Miss, Missouri at home, at Texas to end it. So how many ranked teams, Parker? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, and one, two, three, four. 8 ranked teams. 4 of the 8 are in the top 10.
The way I look at it, the way I've
3 in the
always
top
looked at it
5.
really, is when you're Oklahoma and you play P4 basketball, regardless of whether you're in the Big 12 or now the SEC, get to 20 wins. If you get to 20 wins, you're generally safe. Oklahoma had 20 wins last year. The only reason they wound up the first team out
Oh
is
yeah, NC
because it was
State.
absolute chaos in the last couple of days of Champ Week. Unprecedented levels of, and so
NC State.
get to 20 wins more often than not, 95% of the time, you're going to be okay. And so I think the calculus is very simple. Like I said, 6 wins ought to get you there. 7 wins in SEC play definitely does.
Man. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun season, folks. I hope everybody pays attention to it. I hope you guys go and you support them, because I gotta tell you, you guys are so blessed with good basketball. Not only do you get a really good a really good Thunder team in the Oklahoma City metro area, you get a damn good Oklahoma basketball team in the Oklahoma metro area, Oklahoma City metro area. So like, just embrace the hoops this winter and spring. That's what we're saying. Embrace it, enjoy it, and embrace the portal, because it's not going anywhere, and it's gonna stop in the beginning of February when everything's over, and the last bit of guys get in the portal and pick somewhere they're going after the national title. And then guess what, Parker? 2 months later, it starts all over again. Plus spring ball. So
Fun
on
times.
that note, if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, subscribe. Give us a like, 5 stars, thumbs up, all of the above. Whatever podcasting platform, whatever you're watching, whatever you're listening to us on, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, 5-star. Make sure you give us, good rating, and follow us, because we got a lot of good content for you almost daily on whatever platform you listen to us on. If you're not on OU Insider VIP, it has been fun. Parker and I have been dropping notes galore, like literally multiple notes a day, just bam, 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 as far as transfer portal stuff, and a lot of stuff we don't talk about on here. So if you're not on OU Insider VIP, go join the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. Literally, there's a lot of guys on there, a lot of Oklahoma fans, diehards just like you, commenting. We have a portal thread that has almost 100,000 views and 1,000 whatever comments on it. It's a huge thread. Everybody's having fun on that. There's multiple threads with 10, 15, 20,000 views and hundreds of comments on it, and people bantering back and forth. It's just fun. You can start your own threads. You can start your own conversations on there with all the OU fans you ever want to deal with, and that's what makes it fun. So go there, sign up, $9.95 a month, $99.95 for the whole year. You get to talk to Parker and I daily. We'll answer all your questions, insider notes, insider questions that you want to know. We'll answer them. Like, hey, I want to know about this. Tell me about it. We'll tell you about it over there on the paywall, because that's our job. If you're again, $9.95 a month, $99.95 for the whole year. If you're a college student, email us from .edu to ouinsider@rivals.com. Anywhere. It doesn't matter where you go to college. Anywhere. .edu from your .edu email, ouinsider@rivals.com. Same with teacher. Email us from your school. ouinsider@rivals.com. And then obviously, if you're military, same thing. Email us from your military email, ouinsider@rivals.com. We will give you OU Insider, send you a promo code to get you signed up for OU Insider, $11.95 for a whole year. Again, .edu, your teacher's email and or military email. You email us from any one of those, ouinsider@rivals.com. We will hook you up with a promo code, $11.95 for a whole year of OU Insider VIP to go join all the people that I just talked about. All right. For Parker Thune, my name is Brandon Drumm. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners podcast. We will see you guys soon.